Hey, welcome back. So today I was going to talk about the Second Amendment. And when the shooting happened, I noticed that it was like the first time since since Donald Trump did that thing where he went on TV and he was like, I won and they stole it from me, where I actually felt like political anger, which is bad, which is why I don't like to watch politics, because like it's all just dumb people talking and like, oh, blah blah blah, whatever. They're just making stuff up and it's frustrating. I was watching that Texas governor and I was feeling angry because like Beto O'Rourke was there and he was like, you did this, and I was like, yeah. Okay, we're talking about the Second Amendment because I've been reading the Federalist Papers. Again, I started at number 40, I think. So there are two Federalist Papers that I noticed that talk about the well-regulated militia. But first, let's say Second Amendment is so short. It's so short. It says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So today we're going to try to mangle our way through a history lesson, because history was my least favorite class in school. I was always the worst at history. But I like it now, kind of. Oop. Federalists 26 and 46. Hamilton talks about a well-regulated militia. And then Madison talks about it in number 46. I kind of want to just read it, but I can't really do that. So, okay, the first thing, I always kind of thought the Second Amendment was kind of cool, and the idea behind it was like, the Founding Fathers were like, a problem in monarchies is that the people can't fight back against the king, because the king has his army and you're just a peasant. So wouldn't it be cool if everybody had a gun? And the Founding Fathers were like, if you hate us, to kill us. It was pretty cool. They're like, yeah, if we suck so much, then just like kill us. Okay. That was the idea, and obviously everything's more complicated. Oh, I thought I could stay on him. And that's not really what they were saying, and I still don't know what they're saying. But here you go. This is number 29. See, I got my book here. Federalist Papers. Number 29, the regulation of a militia. And I should have bookmarked the other one. 46. State and federal powers compared. Is that the right one? So let's talk about Hamilton first. The idea of a well-regulated militia is what the Second Amendment is referencing. And when you read the Federalist Papers, it seemed like the Founding Fathers had the idea of like actual militias, not just like random people who have guns, like a regulated army, but separate from the federal army. Each state would have like their own militia, which I don't think we have like state police, but we don't have state armies. No, the National Guard is a federal army, right? See, this is what I mean when I don't know what I'm talking about, but every state doesn't have its own militia. That's kind of what this amendment, I think, is trying to say, like, because if each state has its own militia, then it can protect its own interests, like from the federal army just coming in and being like, you gotta follow us. And they're like, we have our own militia. No, we don't have to do what you say. I always kind of thought the Second Amendment was like, if the president like starts rolling tanks in the street and is like, show us your papers, and you're like, then that's when every random person with a gun is going to be like, we're going to shoot you, we're going to shoot your tanks. So the more I read the Federalist Papers, the more I think that that is not what they intended. They intended well-regulated militias. That's what it says, well-regulated. I mean, the kid who bought the AR-16 and killed everybody, he wasn't well-regulated. He wasn't in a militia. Those people should not have guns. And I was listening to some guy, a senator from Connecticut, who was pretty hopeful that they were going to get some new things done, which is nice. He was saying, like, the gun lobby is losing a lot of money, and the anti-gun lobby is, in the past 10 years, has been doing a lot better. So I'm like, cool. You might be able to pass a law that says, like, instead of, you have to be 21. I think it should be 25 to buy a gun. I don't know what it should be, yeah. Make it 25. You have to be 25 to buy a gun. Fine, who cares? Because all the people, like the past 10 mass shootings, everybody was under 21. And they bought the guns themselves, I think. Except for that one kid, now his parents bought them again. The other thing is, like, obviously you could regulate it like a car and just be like, you need to register your gun and you need to get a gun license. It's crazy that you don't. I think in New Jersey and New York you do have to get a gun license. Like, you have to wait a month, but in Texas you can just like walk into Walmart and buy a gun if you want, which is ridiculous. But we still had a shooting in Buffalo last week, so it still happens. But maybe he bought his gun in, like, Pennsylvania or something. I like to think, oh, New York and New Jersey, we're better, but New Jersey hasn't had a mass shooting. I can't think of one. Would have been on the news. We haven't had a school shooting. Oh, New Jersey has one of the toughest gun laws out there, and it was always told to me, like, oh yeah, it's because there's so many people and we're all, like, close together. I'm like, oh, well, who cares about that? I'm glad. I think it's just because it's a Democrat state, but, okay, Second Amendment. Do I want to talk more about the shooting was so sad, I don't want to talk about it. It's Sandy Hook, I mean, it's too, it makes you question, it's one of those things that makes you question, like, God, like, it's a kid killing other kids, 4th grade kids, and you just imagine being in that classroom and you're like, God can't exist for that to happen, right? It's taking a kid, and I mean, this does happen in, like, the Middle East, but, like, and, like, Ukraine. It's taking a 9-year-old kid and putting him in a war zone when he's just trying to learn math and talk to the girl that sits next to him. But, okay, let's talk about Federalist 46, because I'm too sad now. Federalist 46, Madison does mention the Second Amendment. I mean, he doesn't mention the Second Amendment, but Madison wrote the Second Amendment, I think. So his opinion is pretty important here. Military and militia. Extravagant as the supposition is, let it however be made, let a regular army fully equal to the resources of the country be formed, and let it be entirely at the devotion of the federal government. Still, it would not be going too far to say that the state governments, with the people on their side, would be able to repel the danger, the highest number of which, according to the best computation, a standing army cannot be carried in any country, does not exceed 1/100th part of the whole number of souls, or 1/25th part, to bear arms. This proportion would not yield in the United States an army of more than 25 or 30,000 men. To these would be opposing a militia amount to nearly 500,000 of citizens with arms in their hands, offered by men chosen from among themselves, fighting for their common liberties, and united and conducted by governments possessing... Okay, this is long. So to me, that says that the Second Amendment is about... Well, the Federalist Papers is all about the federal government and how... I guess, so the argument of the anti-federalists were like, you're making the federal government too strong with this Constitution thing. And so Madison and Hamilton were like, if the federal government is so strong, then we'll create the Second Amendment where each state can have their own militia and trained. I think in Federalist 26 it says Hamilton wants them to be trained like soldiers. Like you have kind of a civilian militia that's trained by the state government to repel the federal government forces if the federal government comes in and be like, you got to pay more taxes, and then the regulated militia's like, then fight us. And then Madison's saying, if that happens, the state governments are going to have so many more people than the federal government. So what are you complaining about? Like, this isn't even an issue. Federal government's not going to be stronger than each state still, because that's what the anti-federalists were worried about. Like, the government's going to be too big and come in and take all my stuff. Yeah, so in summary, I mean, it's a no-brainer to me to regulate guns more until we don't have mass shootings like this. Like, just keep doing background checks and... Ooh, what was that? Ooh, sorry, there's a stink bug just flew past me. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.